In this dimension, did I mention you're beautiful to me, to me? I don't believe in no coincidence, girl.
Okay. In a world full of noise and hustle, I always believe that the real growth comes from connection. It's not performance. So, with this in mind, I created the connection currency. There's no right or wrong polished answers here. I'm just always curious behind what's behind each business and what lights them up. Some of us are growing quietly, some of us are tired, some of us are succeeding and still doubting ourselves. So I'm hoping I'm creating an aligned community that feels supported, connected, empowered. And my wish is that you connect and collaborate with others on here in an authentic way. Connection is a currency, and it shouldn't feel like you're shoving your business card at someone who's probably never going to look at it again, or somebody like me, where my team says the console of my car is where business cards go to die. You, I believe connection has to be strong, and your values and morals have to be aligned as well. So, with that in mind, I would like to now introduce you to the lovely Terri Tonkin. Hello, Terri. Welcome.
Hi, Robin. Thanks for having me.
Now let's kick off and get started. So, what what was it that you what you lit you up, or when was it that you decided, okay, I'm in business, I'm doing this?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a story in that I've always been interested and I love to be involved in personal development. And I'd taken a redundancy from the government. It took me 18 months to want to people again. And I decided to take on life coaching. I thought I'll go and do that, primarily for my personal development. But during that course, we were all encouraged to go into business. And I thought, well, I don't want to do business coaching. I've never had a business before. I have no idea. So I went, no, I want to do life coaching. I want that personal side of things. So during the course, which was 18 months, I did start my own little life coaching business, and it was ticking along. It was slow, but I was learning. So I wasn't in a rush to jump in and go full in. And everybody said to me, oh, you should get a VA, you should get a VA. And I went, that's great, except I don't know what I'm doing. So I don't even know what to give a VA. So I plodded along by myself. And sadly, my mum took ill and had to be placed into care. So I was also juggling care activities, which was not fun.
No.
Anyway, I was ticking along, and I just went, I've got to write that book. This was off on a tangent, and I went, I've got to write that book. Mum's in care.
Yeah.
I've got to write that book so
Yeah.
Mum can read it,
Yeah.
because I've always wanted to write a book from when I was little.
Mm.
And we lived out in Western Queensland when I was a child, and we had no TV. It wasn't even there. We had the radio, and we would listen to serials, stories. And I got into reading early, and my dad in particular encouraged that. So he would buy me all the Secret Sevens and all the Famous Fives. And, he would buy me books. If I wanted something, I would get a book. So I've always had that dream to write a book. So I finished my life coaching studies, and I was still, running a couple of little workshops, intermingled with caring for my mum. And in 2018, I went, no, I've got to write that book. I'd finished my studies. I had time. I was financially secure, so I could just take the time and write my book. And I did that pretty quickly. It was within 3 months. Yeah. My mum read the book. Sadly, she couldn't remember some of it, but that lit the passion. Mm-hmm. And my life coaching business was called Connect Within. And my business is still Connect Within. Mm-hmm. I went from being a single author to a contributing author many times over. And in 2021, I had been following a ghostwriter in America, and he was putting on a free training. And I thought, oh, not the training. And I thought, oh, it'll go for about an hour.
Yeah.
And the time was perfect. It was 9 a.m. Australian time, which is unheard of.
Absolutely.
So I jumped on thinking it would be about an hour.
Yeah.
3 hours later, he was still giving content. He was still giving value. And I thought, I'm on board with this guy. He's real. He's the real deal. So I did. I signed up to his course, and that was in the September of 21. On the 1st of November 2021, I actually signed my first ghostwriting client.
Yeah.
But the writing is my passion. I still love life coaching. I still do, absolutely. And I love that little business. I didn't like business.
Yeah.
I love the life coaching.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
I still use those skills when I'm working with a ghostwriting client. So it's good.
and I love those people, like you said, that just give so much of probably what's their IP, but also they connect with people and then they have a following. So look how that worked for you, that he gave you all this IP and you went, I'm on board with him.
Yes.
And he wouldn't have been making probably a cent out of giving that all to you,
For
but
3 hours. I mean, that's, 3 hours of his time.
absolutely.
Plus
And
his team's time.
yeah,
Yeah.
and being sort of being that authentic, like he knows that value of that connection,
Absolutely.
and that he has that connection. So what lights you up when you're working within your business, be it ghostwriting? I found out recently you do a bit of beta reading as well. What lights you up there that keeps you going when you just think, oh, I don't want to do this anymore? Because we all go through that.
Look, I really did. When mum passed away in 2019, I stepped right back out of my life coaching. I just went, I just can't deal with that. But what lights me up is storytelling, story sharing. And I personally believe everybody, and I mean everybody, and I'm not generalizing, everybody has a story to tell and a story to be shared. They may think it's nothing, but when one person reads it and they're impacted, that story is so worth it. So if I can help people bring that story to life, I believe that's my purpose.
Yeah.
Sadly, people think they can't write. They don't know how to write. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to develop their story, but they can talk to people. And that's where I come in, because I talk to my clients. It's not an interview. I let them tell their story, but I'm asking questions along the way to develop their story. And then I take over and I write it for them. So,
I
sharing
love
their
that.
stories.
And that's sharing, and you and I have both found by being judges, and thank you again for saying yes. I'm very grateful for that.
Jump in, feet and all.
Judging books and having to read all those books, but when you talk to those authors, they're like, I wasn't going to write a book, and then I decided I'd write it for my family, and then all of a sudden they don't realize how many people they're touching, and that power of connection right there. So
absolutely,
I love that. I love that, and I love that that lights you up, because I suppose that's the reason why I keep judging the books, is it lights me up when I hear other people's stories and what they're going through, or the reason that they started doing it.
That's right.
Yeah. So with connection, like you and I always feel I think I feel the same as a lot of people. Getting out there networking is hard. And people see me as an extrovert, but I'm actually an introverted extrovert, because I need to come home and stop peopling and read and write as well, and just and focus. So but you have to put that extrovert on when you go to networking things and you're connecting, and then you have people shoving business cards at you, and you and I, like, I know we both find that difficult. We have those business cards if it comes to that and we need to do that. But how do you find that, what works for you with networking and connection? And we've talked about You and I personally have talked about previously how you can't duplicate yourself physically in all those rooms
Mm,
unless you have a good connected community.
yeah.
Mm.
Back when I had my life coaching business, I was probably the networking queen, trying to get myself out there and I had my own meetup. I was going to all these other meetups and yeah, collecting those business cards. And some people, just through a conversation, you connect so much more than a piece of cardboard,
Yeah,
so much more. And I think for me, it's not about, if I'm out networking in a physical realm, it's not about pushing my business. It's
mm.
having a conversation with somebody else to find out what lights them up.
Yeah,
And then I have been at networking events and people go, oh, I'm so tired. I really need help with blah, blah. And I go,
yeah,
can I have your name and number? Is it all right if I send you an email and connect you with Joe?
yeah.
Because I know Joe does that sort of work, but if it's not quite what you want, I'm sure they'll know someone.
Somebody knows.
And I
Yeah,
think it's just through conversation
yeah,
rather than pushing the business card.
yeah,
I've been in a lot of compilation books and networking. We all get together, in the build up to the book, we all get together for the launch of the book, but we all connect privately as well
yeah.
so that we've got those connections. I did a book back in 2022 called Get Published.
Mm.
And one of the publishers there I've maintained contact with. She helped me with my book cover last year. I just couldn't get that spine working. And she was able to do it in like 10 minutes,
Yeah,
not even. Last year, I was interviewed by a lady on a platform and we were having a conversation and she said to me, oh, after we'd finished our call, she said, I'm starting up my own platform. Is it okay? Would you be interested? Come and have an interview on that. Absolutely. So we did a call on her new platform. And then at the end of that one, she said, oh, I'm really interested in your ghostwriting. Can we make a time and we'll just have a casual chat? Sure. So we did that. And during that conversation, she said she was trying to develop up a co-author book, she called it, a co-author book. And I said, oh, that's really great. What's it all about? We had a discussion. And she said to me, I'm having so much trouble finding a publisher. She said, they're all transactional. She
yeah.
said, there's no heart in it.
No.
And I went, you're in Colorado? And she said, yes, I am. I said, I know a publisher in Denver, Colorado. And she went, right? And I went, is it okay if I just send you emails?
Yeah.
Sure. I introduced them via email. Obviously, I couldn't do it in person.
Yep.
And they both came back and went, wow. She engaged with that publisher. They set up a plan.
Yeah.
And soon as she came out and said, I've found my publisher, she had 10 authors come into her book.
Yeah.
That domino effect.
Yeah, it fell into place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how amazing, because for anybody who doesn't know, like you live in Queensland, Southeast Queensland, like I do. So Colorado, like I've never been to Colorado. I
As
don't know
you
if you have,
do.
but but it's making those connections and
Yeah,
they translate all over the world, if you make those right connections, then they make the right connections.
that's right.
And like
Yeah.
one of the people who are going to come up and speak, who've agreed to speak, we made a connection in a castle in Ireland, and otherwise we probably never would have even met. So it's just
But
when
both from Australia, but you
yeah,
met in Ireland.
both from Australia, yeah, like it's just,
It's,
and other connections I've
yeah,
made in other places, and they've connected me to places that I've never been, but now I want to go.
yeah.
So
That
it's
same lady who
yeah,
was putting that book together, again, we're having a conversation just last week over Zoom, and she said, "Oh, I'm thinking about putting the book on audio." She said, "But this it's quite expensive, and
mm,
I'm not quite sure about how to do Amazon." And I went, "I've actually been connected with a lady in the States who does voiceovers and audio." So
and
they've made
audio,
a connection and now they're working together. So
yeah,
I think it's like what you said previously. When you meet someone and you have that trust,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's instant, you just go,
Mm,
yeah, wow.
mm,
And that one stays with you. And
yeah.
then if somebody says something to you, you go, I know who to use. And they'll trust me because I've trusted that person.
Yeah, yeah, and we talked about that flow on
Yeah.
effect. That sometimes when people are looking for someone, I'll say to them, "This is who I trust," and they just trust that person. Like I'm like, wow, like
Yeah.
that makes you feel so good that they just trust that person you've recommended to recommend to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has that flow on effect. I think when you're authentic and you do it organically and there's nothing forced about it and you're not
Yeah.
trying to hustle people and you're not trying to push them onto what you're selling. It's
Yeah.
like when we talk about on LinkedIn, LinkedIn, there's the first, second, and third. And the
Mm.
first are people you know. And they're probably people you'll never do business necessarily with, but they're those people in your first connected community will probably do business with the second and third in your connected community. And I
Mm.
believe that's how that authentic connection works. LinkedIn, it's a little bit more businessy because they might be looking for a particular service. But
As it should be, it is a business
yeah,
platform.
yeah, it's
No.
a business platform, but
Yeah.
I always like to still think that it's the majority of those ones I'm connected with on LinkedIn, and I would say 99% of them are authentic. They're there they're like me, you. They want to
Mm.
help people in our community because what do they say? When that tide rises, all boats are lifted.
Yeah.
When you lift a few, everybody lifts up as well. And I always say with collaboration, because a lot of those that work with me and for me, um, saw themselves as my competitor. And when I walk into rooms, they probably wouldn't engage with me. And I used to go out there out of my comfort zone and say, let's have a coffee and chat. And I often now, more than often, refer clients to ones where I feel they're best aligned with them and maybe not me. So they work with me and collaborate with me. But
Yeah.
we have these conversations that, oh, we thought you were our competitor, and we were like really, and I've had a few of them say, I felt quite intimidated that you were in the room when I got up to speak.
Mm.
Like you should never feel like that.
No.
Like there's enough out there for all of us. You should never have to, especially as a woman. Like I
Yes.
know this will probably push out and we'll probably end up with a male audience as well, inevitably, but I've started it essentially for my women's Australian women entrepreneurs group because I just felt that they were just already connected and I hadn't
Yeah.
done anything. So I wanted to take that to the next level. Hence, we're doing this.
Yeah.
So what are those techniques? What are those things that when you're out and you network or you connect with someone, are the key things that you look for that you go, okay, this will be a good fit probably for my business, like getting back to a business point of view.
Mm.
Um, are the key things that you're looking for? What sort of people would be the ideal people for you to connect in with that you could be helping them and they could be helping you and you could be both growing your businesses?
If I'm looking, not that I go looking for
No,
clients. If I,
specifically, I understand, but
yeah,
if you
if I
were,
was if I was to
yeah,
go, okay,
like for
who's my
this,
client going to
this
be?
audience's purposes, who
Yeah.
would you collaborate with? Thinking about that, who would be ideal for you to collaborate with that you could both lift each other?
Yeah. Look, even going back to life coaching, if there's coaches out there who have clients who have a story, and we all have a story,
Mm,
but if they could say to their clients, how would you feel about sharing your story? How would you feel about someone writing your story?
mm,
Those sort of connections would be gold because those stories are so personal.
yeah, yeah.
They're personal, yet they'll have impact
Mm,
on others.
mm,
The other end of the spectrum is small business.
yeah.
How did they get into business? What is the
Mm,
business? Where do they see their business going? And I wrote a piece for a lady, and I work global. as you.
Well, you get to travel global, so that's the best part.
Yeah, you do. Whether you actually leave home, you travel globally. Oh,
I like to leave home.
I try to. But I worked with a lady in Oregon who was having trouble with the local county. She'd been running her business for 7 years, and yet all of a sudden she was breaking the rules. So she needed to write a piece, not a book, but it was about 2,000 words that she could actually take to court and present. And we worked on that because she was so in it,
Yeah.
she couldn't pull it apart.
Yeah.
So I was able to take her emotion out, still have emotion there, obviously, because it was impacting her and her family and the community. But we were able to pull that apart and put it back together so that she had a document that she could use in the media, she could take to court, she could present to the county, so that sort of thing. I worked, when I did that get published, one of the other people involved in that book, she had a podcast, I was on her podcast, and her dad was listening. And she sent me an email and said, Dad just listened. Can he call you?
Sure.
We had a conversation. Now, he was a businessman, and he said, oh, I want to write a book, but, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he had half written it. So I do myself out of business sometimes, and I go, you know what? You don't actually need a ghostwriter. You need an accountability person and someone who will sit with you and polish it. So that's what we did. And he said, book me in for 12 sessions. I went, okay. He was sitting in Florida.
Yeah.
So we booked him in for 6 sessions. We had that book done in 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And we polished it up.
Yeah.
And he was able to, he then had his book, because I was reading it. I'm Australian. He's sitting in America. He's a businessman. There's different language.
Yes.
We speak English. It's a different
Sure.
language.
Oh, yeah, there is.
And
they operate differently as well.
So I had to, he would use abbreviations. I'd go, okay, I'm a numpty. What does ABCD mean?
Yeah.
What does this mean? Oh, everybody knows, do they? Everybody knows exactly what you're talking about in your business. Things like that. So we worked on that. I've helped other authors polish up their work. So as a ghostwriter, I'm not writing it, but like you said, I do the beta read, but I do a deep dive beta read. I'm not an editor, but again, we've judged books and we can see differences and we see blaring mistakes, and we can just go, oh, that's not right. So I do that work as well, but working with authors.
Yeah.
And some of them, they're multi-published.
Yeah.
But if the same set of eyes is looking at it,
yes,
they'll see exactly the same thing. They won't pick up the mistakes. So that's an offshoot to my ghostwriting. But I think just working in books is what lights me up.
Lights up. So we've talked about, just quickly, if we can cover this. I was called, from where I used to work, government and corporate, we talk about supply chains, and these days I talk about your supply chain of people. So we've talked about the downside, the down end of your supply chain. So those are those people that are referring people to come to you. But then when you finish, who are the ones that you refer up to? So what's your up supply chain of people?
My up supply, as a ghostwriter, I'm a ghostwriter. I write the manuscript. So I refer to editors. I refer to publishers. I refer to cover designers. I can refer to formatters.
Yeah.
I can talk through some of the process. I have published 2 of my books on my own, and I have learnt I am not a publisher.
Yeah.
The world has changed very quickly. And I think I was in the wrong lane when the tech genes were handed out.
Well,
I think they saved them all for my grandchildren.
It could be a generational thing, let's just say, for
there's some people my age and older that have just grasped it.
Yeah, I love technology and I
embraced it.
Yeah.
And I sit there and I go,
Yeah. But then we've always got people for that. That's
And
how I
that's
always
right.
see it.
So
Yeah.
that's why I I refer to editors, publishers, cover designers, formatters, um, anything on that tech side.
Yeah.
I'm not your girl,
Yeah.
but write your manuscript.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
see me.
That's
That's
fantastic.
what lights me up is the writing.
The writing, yeah, yeah, and I love that. I love that someone else's story can make you connected and light you up, you know. And the amazing thing is these people who take so long to put themselves out there, myself included, do as I say, not as I do. Um, um, but but those people, they don't realize how they can that affect those that are reading their book, and it can change their lives as well. I know some of the books that I've read, not necessarily even you know, business non-fiction type books, but books about people, you know, those anthologies and those
Mm,
memoirs and things like that. You read them and you go, oh wow, and it just and sometimes you can really align with them. It's like our life has gone a similar journey,
right.
but look what you've done, and I need to do so much more. So it does motivate me.
And I think that's one of the hurdles
Mm.
to, what do they say? 99% of people want to write a book, 5% actually sit down and write it, 3% may publish it.
Yeah,
In
wow.
effect, 1% actually publish it and put it out
Yeah.
there.
And then
And
how
there's,
many of them sit in boxes in their garages and never even
well,
get
that's
out
true.
there?
That's true.
So
I
yeah,
suppose it's a little bit
wow.
easier now that you can have one book for yourself and maybe, you know, 5 or 6 to sell
Yeah.
personally. But on platforms like Amazon, you can just let it sit there. But you've still got to promote it. You've still got to promote it.
It's still sitting in your garage. It's just sitting in an online garage.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's not taking up the physical
Yeah,
space. But
true.
there's so many hurdles. I'll say hurdles. They're not excuses. They're hurdles.
Mm.
And some of it is, I don't know how to write. I don't know how to start. Who would read it? I don't have time. Um, my story is shameful.
Yeah.
I'm carrying guilt.
Yeah, yeah.
What if somebody sues me? There's
Mm.
ways around that.
Mm.
You know, you can use pen names. You can make it a fiction
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
There's
Yeah,
ways around it.
I
You know, but
I
there's
think
so
I've got
many
a few books in
hurdles.
me, and one of them is definitely a fiction book.
Yeah. Look, when I first started ghostwriting, prior to me starting ghostwriting, I'd been in a compilation book, and it was called Forever Changed by Suicide.
Yeah.
Now, one of the authors in that book actually approached me and said, I love the way you write. Will you write in my book? And I said, oh, thank you very much. You know, what's the book about? She said, domestic violence.
Mm, mm,
And she went, oh, why?
mm,
I said, I've been blessed. I've never had to deal with it. I've never had to live with it. She said,
yeah.
but you could give your opinion. And I said, that goes against my integrity,
Yeah, yeah,
because I would be somebody on the outside looking in saying, blah, 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 you should be
yeah,
doing this. I've
yeah.
got no idea because I've never been in that
No, no
situation.
lived experience. Yeah.
My first 2 ghostwriting clients were DV survivors. And I
Mm,
went, that's why I said no, because
yeah.
I could approach their story as a story.
Mm,
In whilst writing those, I went, oh, wow,
yeah,
they've
yeah,
been through hell.
yeah,
But I could remove myself emotionally to
yeah.
write their story.
Mm,
And I'm so glad I said no to an opportunity to write,
mm,
because that's not where I was meant to go. I was meant
yeah,
to be there to help people write their story.
yeah.
And one of them
And
we fictionalized.
probably and we've seen that with some of the books as we've judged.
Mm,
It's a cathartic
mm.
experience for them. Sometimes it's part of their it's not grieving, but they're surviving, they're overcoming all that stuff where they've been pushed down.
A lot of people say, I do say, like even when I wrote my first book, even just writing some of the things, and I've had a pretty blessed life, really.
Yeah,
There have been traumatic moments, but I haven't
yeah,
had to live in trauma.
yeah,
Big difference.
yeah.
And even that was cathartic. It was
Mm,
therapeutic, whatever
yeah,
you want to say. A lot of people say healing,
yeah,
but part of that healing is acknowledging what you were, what you went through, and how you've come out the other side.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know? It's
Yeah.
just acknowledging that and going, oh, wow, I survived.
Absolutely. So, just to wrap up, we could talk all day. I know we could, but
We have
just
been known to.
yeah, I suppose so. Maybe just like give me a glass of wine and we'll chat all night.
Hey,
Um,
I've got my coffee shirt on. I have my coffee. We're good.
yeah, I know it's daytime. People might be watching this at nighttime, but yeah,
This is
I
true.
do. I have my cup of tea. So,
Mm.
um, so if somebody wants to connect with you, collaborate with you, if they're part of your down chain, up chain, in your people supply, sort of where you fit in, how can they connect with you in a genuine way? Where can they find you? Uh,
I I am on LinkedIn under Terri Tonkin. Connect Within is my
yeah.
business name. You can catch me on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
Terri Tonkin.
Mm-hmm.
My email is probably best, Terri at
Mm-hmm.
connectwithin.com.au.
Okay,
And
and I'll share that. I'll share that with this as
sure,
well.
and
Those
just say,
links.
hey, I saw the podcast with Robin. I'd really like to chat with you. You
Yeah,
can send me a private message in LinkedIn. You can send me a private message on Facebook. Just
yeah,
let me know where the connection is from, because
yes.
sometimes I get messages and I go, because I will stalk you and find out if you are a real person,
Yeah,
who
and we,
your connections
I
are.
know, we
Because
all
again,
have
there's
that.
that trust thing. Is
Mm,
that
mm,
if I know, if somebody writes me a message and go, hey, I saw the podcast with Robin or the
yeah,
interview with Robin,
yeah,
I'd really like to talk to you. I'm interested in the ghostwriting. I have a
yeah,
story to tell. I'm going to go, okay, this is for real. So
yeah.
please introduce yourself a little bit. Please don't try and sell me anything.
So, and I hear you there because, and it's really funny you should say that because yesterday I got a text message. Hey, I've been trying to call you. I love what you do and I'd love a chat. And I'm like, really? And I play in that techie space. I help out the unis in that techie space. I'm involved with them. And I thought I am just going to use some of my tech and look up your phone number. And I found out it was a real estate agent. Like a real estate agent. You love what I do.
Do
So
you know what I do?
yeah. So they're trying to obviously sell me or promote something.
Oh, look,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
amazing how many.
and I'm cheeky. I rang them. I'm
I
cheeky.
can't
I have
believe it, Robin.
no problems with that. I rang him and I said, "So what is it that I do that you love about it?" And he's like, "Oh, I think we've met and we've had this big conversation." And I know
About
for a
what?
fact, I know for a fact because I'd only looked at one property in this particular area, so I know for a fact who I met that day, and it was a female, and it wasn't him. And I thought, wow, does that work for you selling properties? Does
Yeah,
that, we had this big chat about you and your life, and I just wanted to touch base.
really.
And then I just wanted to touch base and see if you're coming to my auction next weekend. I'm like, no, no.
You
And
know,
I'll probably put you on my list of real estate agents I won't bother to deal with.
yeah.
So yeah, so I'd just like to put it out there to everyone. Connection is a currency. So where are you investing? When are you investing? Are you investing next week? Take that time, take that opportunity. If Terri connects with you and you love what she says and does, and I can recommend Terri, she's a friend of mine, in what she does, please connect with her. I'll put all the links in this when I post it as well. Okay. Happy next week. See you next week, Terri. Bye.
Bye.